Imagine driving on a road built more than 2,000 years ago and discovering that it's still usable today. Sounds impossible, but it's true. Some Roman roads have survived for over 20 centuries. Meanwhile, many modern roads begin to crack, break, or require repairs after only a few years. So here's the question. How did people without computers, without bulldozers, without modern engineering, build roads that lasted this long? The answer is far more fascinating than most people realize. To understand the secret, we need to travel back nearly 2,000 years. At the height of their power, the Romans controlled a massive empire stretching across Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Middle East. Moving soldiers, supplies, and information quickly was critical. Without roads, the empire could not survive. So the Romans began building one of the greatest transportation networks in human history. In total, they constructed more than 400,000 kilometers of roads. That's enough to circle the Earth almost 10 times. But here's where things get interesting. Scientists and archaeologists who excavated ancient Roman roads discovered something unexpected. Roman roads were not simply stones placed on the ground. They were carefully engineered structures. First, workers dug deep into the earth. Then they created multiple layers. Large stones formed the foundation. Smaller stones and gravel were added above. Finally, tightly fitted paving stones created the surface. Each layer served a specific purpose. The structure distributed weight evenly and prevented the road from sinking into soft ground. But the Romans had another secret. A secret many people overlook. Water. The Romans understood that water is one of the biggest enemies of any road. Rainwater can slowly weaken foundations. Over time, even the strongest road can fail. So Roman engineers designed roads with a slightly curved surface. This allowed water to flow away from the center. They also built drainage channels along the sides. Instead of collecting on the road, water was directed away from it. Simple, yet incredibly effective. And this is one reason many Roman roads survived for centuries. But now another question appears. If Roman roads were so amazing, why don't we build every road exactly the same way today? The answer might surprise you. Roman roads and modern roads were designed for completely different worlds. Most Roman traffic consisted of people walking, horses, and relatively light carts. Modern roads face something entirely different. Massive trucks, heavy machinery, millions of vehicles every year. The stress placed on today's roads is far greater than anything the Romans experienced. In other words, modern roads are not necessarily worse. They're solving a much harder problem. Still, many engineers continue studying Roman construction techniques because some of their ideas remain incredibly valuable even today. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part of this story. The Romans had no satellites, no computers, no advanced construction equipment. Yet they built roads that continue teaching lessons to modern engineers thousands of years later. Sometimes, the greatest technology isn't the newest technology. Sometimes, it's the technology that survives the test of time. So the next time you travel on a modern highway, remember this. Long before engines, long before electricity, and long before the modern world existed, Roman engineers were already building for the future. And 2,000 years later, their work is still speaking for itself.